Hey guys, this is Cyrus here from Brushpix.com, and I just got the opportunity to watch the movie Tenet, and oh my goodness, it's amazing. I have to say Christopher Nolan did it again and was able to pull out a story that was just so crisp and interesting and fresh, something that I never could have expected or anticipated. It was something I don't feel like I've ever seen before, and I feel like I'll ever really see again. The story was just so many layers and layers and layers of things to consider. And there were entire moments in the movie where I didn't fully understand what was going on, which is typical for his style of movie. But it was just a great viewing experience. I got the opportunity finally to actually go see this in the theaters rather than be stuck and actually have to see this at home, which was just an entire pleasure for me. The first thing that really jumped out at this movie for me was just the audio design of it. That opening scene, the music was just so crisp and fresh, and it just surrounded the scene so beautifully, and the choreography associated with it was just so great. I loved that. Beyond that, I just felt the entire cast was just dynamic and interesting, and I really loved to get to know each character. There was a shroud of mystery surrounding everyone, and that actually allowed for us to get great character development throughout the movie as we're getting to know the mystery of what's going on with these inverted objects and understanding who each person is. Understanding the fact that ignorance is a big part of this movie is actually quite interesting. They have this entire phrase in the movie saying that ignorance is our strength, saying the fact that because everyone is really engaged in the same timeline but in different points along with it, you don't want to change the way in which people would act. Therefore, you keep a lot of information secret despite the fact that you actually could definitely help someone. And so throughout that entire movie, it's really exciting to just sort of see how the relationships are changing as the main character is gaining more information and he's able to sort of move through everything differently. Just very great. Beyond that, Robert Pattinson was fantastic. I just really want to be able to see him in more movies. I'm excited to see him in The Batman, and I think this is going to be great. Overall, I just thought this movie was just great. The fight scenes in it were just so interesting because there were entire scenes where some people are fighting forwards while some people were fighting backwards in time, and somehow they were able to just allow for these two to just sort of mesh together and work, which is confusing but also interesting. They really played into the entire concept of items moving backwards through time, just really great. Instead of firing the gun, they're catching the bullet, which is just interesting. And so dealing damage in that fashion was also sort of counterintuitive, but very exciting and interesting. So overall, I just have so many positive things just to even say about this movie and to think about. I definitely have to see it a second time in order to really just wrap my mind around it and try to better understand the ending and everything that really happened at the end, because there was just so much and they don't hold your hand through all of it or explain it. The other interesting thing about this is that they actually left the door open for a sequel. It's perfectly fine leaving the movie as it is, because then it would just be shrouded in more mystery, which would be perfectly fine with how the movie had progressed up to that point. But they even explained in the movie that they only explained about half of the story of what was going on with the main character, and there's a whole nother half to go, and so we don't know. On top of that, there are a bunch of just interesting conspiracy theories about this movie that have just really risen up simply because there's a lot that was left unexplained or that could be left up into interpretation. And so again, Christopher Nolan just did it again and was able to craft something that was open to so many different takes and views. So, I greatly appreciated it and just thought it was a perfect escape for me just to be able to take my mind off of something and really just engage in a movie. It really forced you to think and enjoy everything that was going on. I felt this was like a very interesting mix between like a James Bond movie, and I don't even know what else to describe it. I guess Inception would be the other thing I would mix it with, because Inception is the only other movie I've seen that was even sort of close to this. You know what I mean? Like, it was just something that was so out there. Just watching it all go down was so interesting, because there was a point at which they had reached the furthest point in the timeline that happened, and then the second half of the movie was all happening again in the past as they're recontextualizing everything a second time. But I can't even explain how it does it, because then that would ruin the fun of the movie and really make it difficult for some people to engage with it by themselves. And so it's just interesting. I can't say anything more than that, but overall, I would say it's just a great movie, and I couldn't say anything better about it. The other thing I have to say about this movie is John David Washington. This was really the first movie that I got a chance to watch of his, and man, I love this guy. I have to say that he's just a great actor. He's very interesting and dynamic, and he made me just so excited to watch the movie. And so I want to see more movies with him, and I just think that he has a lot to show and offer for us. Every scene that he was in was just so funny and interesting because he has his own little quirks about him and how he portrayed the character, and just the confidence and everything going through different scenes. And he obviously has his likes and his dislikes. He really made me buy into the character and everything that was going on. And so, you know, it's great. You learn a lot about him from the beginning, and this well-written script, he really played into it and really enhanced it and took it to another level. And so seeing how the two main characters interact with each other was just great, and I can't wait to see more of it. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you guys saw Tenet, let me know what you guys thought of it. How would you rate it 0 to 10? And in general, do you feel like this movie was worth getting a sequel for, or do you feel like they should just leave it alone and just allow it to be its own separate thing? So with that, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope that you come back again next time. Thanks, guys.